Hi, thank you all so much for watching this. Colleen Faltot and my friend Avani here. We are here to chat about love, weight loss, self-love, relationships, all that good stuff. So Avani, I'm gonna let you introduce yourself quickly.
Yeah, thank you, Colleen. I'm so excited to do this. It's our
Me
first
too.
one. I love this topic. I'm so glad you proposed it. So just as a way of introduction, my name is Avani Shahlenis. I am a intuitive healer and a pleasure coach. And I work with sensuality with women. So that's what I do. And yeah, I've been doing this for I don't know, 5 years now, at least.
Yeah, and we got linked together through some groups we're in together. And we just hit it off because a lot of my work deals with loving yourself to your physical goal. I'm a nutrition and a fitness coach. And I've just worked so long with clients that are approaching their physical goals from a negative headspace, right? Like wanting to lose 10 pounds. And that 10 pounds is lost, and then wanting to find abs, not really sitting with being happy, not being like, you know what, I've reached my goals. This is it. I feel good. Because when we approach anything in our lives from a negative headspace, it just draws more negativity into it. The law of attraction is real, friends, right? And so I'm all about approaching your fitness goals, your health goals, everything from a place of self-love. And Avni and I really connected on that because as a relationship coach, she'll be the first to tell you, if you don't love yourself, you can't love anyone else, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, so I mean, it's not even just relationships. I don't do just relationship coaching. I used to think I'm doing relationship coaching, but it's like the underneath it all is like the juice that creates a great relationship, great body. You actually lose 10 pounds or whatever your goal is. You're attracting opportunities. So the way I work with people is mostly through my program called Unleash the Goddess. And I essentially I'm helping them step into what is their true self, right? Like before we got a lot of programming that got put onto us, right? And I love this topic of self-love, love, really, because that's the frequency. Like when you're vibrating at that love frequency, it's like everything works itself out
Yes.
in a different way, right? Like it's the like, I love the example that you were giving, which is like working out from a place of like, I need to fix myself, something's wrong with me, versus like, no, I love myself. I want to take care of myself, right? Like that inward self, right? Love. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say about that.
I find so much that women, and it's all very subconscious. Avi and I both work with clients on the subconscious level, having them tune into these conditioned mindsets we've been in through culture, through our egos that are just like jumping in. And people get very defensive when you use the word ego in coaching. And it's not anything to be defensive of. It's something that we have to release. Like you don't have to be, a lot of people think ego, they think some like egotistical big person, and they're actually very insecure, right? Like they're like, I'm not ego driven. I'm not like this really thinking highly of myself. That's not what the ego is about. The ego is we all have an ego. And when we don't have our ego in check, we don't love ourselves. Our ego draws us towards negativity, right? And so if you're working out purely from a place of like, I don't like my body, I want to look like XYZ person, I want to look like I did when I was 16 in college, pre-babies, whatever the case is, that's ego driven. And it's funny because that's also insecurity driven, not feeling good about yourself. And so just as we're like starting this topic off, I really want everyone watching this to humbly hear the word ego and take it for what we're meaning it, not any existing beliefs you have around ego, because it's not meant to be a negative. It's meant to be shared as something that we can all grow from, right?
Yeah. Yeah. When you said ego, the word also that came to my mind was like identity. Like we've kind of built an identity of ourselves as like, well, I am such and such type of person, right?
Sure.
So like for me, it's like I am outgoing. I'm just giving that as an example. I'm extroverted. But then there's like, the times like it kind of puts me in this box in a way, right? Like, oh, like every Friday night I should always be going out. And it's like, that's not true. Like there's Fridays I just want to lay in bed in pajamas and just like watch TV, right? And so it's like getting out of that fixed way of seeing ourselves. And we've trained other people to see ourselves like that, right? Like they're like, oh, well, you're an angry person, like,
as opposed to having the ability to starve your ego and feed your soul. Avani and I will both say we are all spiritual beings living in a 3D body, right? It is so much more than what you weigh, how defined your abs are. And when we lose sight of the spiritual being we are and the experiences that we've had, and we both talk about trauma in our work. And I don't mean trauma with like watching someone get hit by a car. Trauma can be very minute things that we're just holding on to energetically with our emotions that need to be released. And a lot of times, not everyone's ready to hear this. And if you're watching this and you're not identifying with this, I respect that completely. But a lot of times when we're holding on to stuck weight, we're holding on to protection, right? We're afraid of love and we're pushing people away subconsciously from us by being uncomfortable in our bodies. Because obviously, if you're not comfortable in your body, you want to lose weight, you don't feel good, you're always down on yourself, your ego is always in your head telling you that you don't look good, you're not going to show up to your partner in a super confident way. You're not going to be like, feeling good about yourself because you don't. You can't turn it on for one person, then turn it off for yourself. And myself, for many years, a lot of my clients too, I had a major void in myself of self-love. The void was a lack of self-love, right? The void was, I did not feel like enough. And I was very codependent, and I looked for my partner to love me enough to fill that void. But in reality, we can't accept a love we don't give ourselves, right? And so when you're loving yourself to release the weight does come off sustainably. And the funny thing is too, not everyone realizes and recognizes when you're chasing a diet, chasing weight loss, chasing abs, chasing something, some kind of physical change in your body, you are running from unhealed trauma. You are running from doing the deeper work on the subconscious level that needs to be done to get the results you're looking to attain. And every time you go on and off a diet, you lose. How many of us, I'm sure people watching this can relate, have been gaining and losing 5 to 10 pounds for 10 years, a decade, right? Like life is too short to be living in a body you don't feel good about, having a mediocre relationship with your body and food. And so it's time when we lean in and we surrender to our body as is, love our body as is, and then start to heal. We're not looking to numb out on food, right? We're numbing out our feelings, this void, with food, holding on to extra weight, or it's just energetically. Energetically, we're not feeling well. Maybe you're eating right. Maybe you're watching this and you're like, I don't eat too much extra food, but I'm still holding on to stuck weight. I see that all the time with my clients. It has to do with their stress levels and their central nervous system being so jacked up, so worked up, that their body is just trying to regulate itself. It doesn't care about losing weight. And when you learn to, balance your energies, do the healing work that Avani and I both do, you release the weight for good, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I love this. I want to add another angle to the body, right? Which is like one of the things that I have seen as a result of the healing work. So my healing work is more sound bowls and theta healing.
Love it.
And so I know it's so fun.
So powerful. Can you, I don't think that a lot of my followers are quite familiar with that. Can you talk about sound bowls and theta healing and what that actually does? Like the healing that comes from it?
Yeah. So it's like basically like one liner of it is like you put your mind into the subconscious state that actually holds these beliefs. Like, for example, like I need to look like that certain person if I want to be successful. And, when we really peel the layer, it's like, okay, I will only be loved if I'm successful. something like that, right? That level of, and we don't always walk around saying, oh, I think people will only love me if I'm successful. We just act it and be it, right? And do things from like, so that becomes like, you know, a lot of my clients are like working really hard and overworking, like 14 hours in the office. And then they're like, well, I'm just looking to find balance. And it's like, wait, what's really going on underneath is like, you will only be approved of if you're actually successful and working hard. And that's the way you learned. And so these subconscious beliefs kind of stay in the subconscious. And so when we go into that theta state, like we can actually command to release them, right? And put the beliefs that we actually want, right?
Yeah.
So like, yeah. And so one of the sort of, I want to say side effects, but it's not really a side effect, but like, you know, your connection with your body is also the vessel to attract abundance.
Yes.
Right. And that's part of the work I do, where like, you know, my clients will say like, oh, I just got off a session and wow, I just found like $2,800 in my mail, a check for that. And it's like, yes, that's the miracle frequency that you could literally be living on. Why? Because you've like cleaned up your relationship with yourself, right? Like you're not suppressing, resisting parts of your body that you, or yourself that you're like, oh, that's not good, right?
Yeah. Law of attraction.
Yeah.
Negativity gets more negativity, positivity. And the thing is that we can find positivity in any situation, but it is uncomfortable. It's a lot easier to get into this negative headspace. It's a lot easier to complain. And if you are not willing to do the work to love yourself, you are just not willing to give up your comfort of complaining and negativity, your comfort of looking at the negative in every situation. Once I started doing this work and this healing, the shifts that you get are incredible. It's amazing. Like going from, you know, being stopped at a train track when you're already running late, whatever the case is, you're late no matter what. You're at the train track no matter what. You can't like obsess in your head and be all negative about it and change it. It is what it is. And so stop yourself. And I literally will look around at these beautiful trees around me. Yeah. And like to just stop yourself, slow down, slow your breath, connect to that spiritual being inside of you, because it is all in divine timing. We're all exactly where we need to be. And I get it that like clients come to me and some people have a really hard time accepting this because you want to lose 20 pounds. You wanted to lose 20 pounds a week ago. You don't want to wait and do all this healing and love yourself now. But we need to get back to our birthright. Rebirthing is a huge piece of it. Like how we came into this world, how we perceived it, our relationships with food, you know, as with our parents. Maybe some of my clients some of my clients a lot come to me and every night at dinner, they felt their parents were being hard on them about their day. What'd you do in school? What grade you got on the test? They didn't feel like they were good enough. And so they used food to numb out. And we're recreating patterns we've had for 10, 20, 30 years with food that have nothing to do with food. It is something underneath it. Yeah. And I work with a lot of clients that this changes their life completely. And I also have a lot of clients that really want to be much more on the tell me what to eat. It's a calorie deficit, this, that, the other. But if you are out there and you are getting all your steps in, you're hitting your workouts, you're eating overall healthy, and you're holding on to stuck weight, you need to break down your past relationship with food. How did your mother make you feel about food? How did your father make you feel about food? How are you recreating that in your present day relationships? Like there's spiritual beliefs. And if you don't want to use the spiritual, I know some people feel a certain way about that. Energetic, like the energy, like you can't deny energy, right? Yeah. There's these preconceived beliefs, these constructs that we have in our mind around energy and our body and what we can do and what we are, that we hold on to, and it is holding on to stuck weight with us. So again, like it is work. It's a lot of work to go from being very ego driven, very negative, very hating on yourself to being positive. But harsh reality, if you don't love yourself now, losing 20 pounds, you're not going to love yourself. You're going to jump into the next thing that you don't like about yourself. Yeah.
I like what you're saying, right? Because like so many times people think that it's the end goal that's going to make me happy.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I remember like I used to work in a corporate job, and, you know, like I was like one of the fastest growing, like whatever, you know, like got my promotion in like a year or whatever. And it's like, I thought that that would make me happy. And literally, I don't even think I forgot about it in like a week, right? Like, and so it's not about that end goal. And I think some people get that, and mostly people get that, like, oh, and I just want to share, like, you know, I love the example of what you said, like watching the trees, right? Like, but, you know, I wonder to myself, and I've been wondering for a while, and then this is what I come up with, like, well, why is it that it's like not okay to sit there and watch the trees, right? Because we've been trained to produce, prove my worth, right? And so part of proving is your body and your weight, right? But also proving yourself on so many other levels, like the house, the car, the whatever. And it's like, yes, those are important. So I'm not saying that, you know, I live in a nice house. I live in
you work hard, you want to reap the benefits. But if you're not happy, what does it matter?
Right.
Like a BMW doesn't make you happy.
Yeah.
You have a BMW, you have a house on the shore, you have $1 million house wherever, and you can't literally sit on a Friday night with your thoughts. What does any of it matter?
Right. And I think that's where, you know, people numb out, right? Like a lot of, you know, when I start working with clients, they sort of, it takes a while sometimes to get there, but they realize quickly that, meaning it takes maybe a little while to like realize that, hey, I'm using alcohol to numb out, you know, like, and I'm kind of eating, like what you said, to numb out.
Shopping, going on Facebook, all these dopamine hits that our society is so conditioned to doing that we don't even realize is not healthy.
Right. And I love that word you use, the conditioning, right? And so, you know, my goal for myself has been, how can I release as much conditioning, right, as possible? That's been my journey. And also, you know, I love that about us, right? Like you and I are on this journey of like, hey, how much conditioning can I release? And so again, it's not to make the conditioning wrong, like it's completely wrong. No, it actually got you the success that you have at the moment, you know, enough to be even watching this video. So definitely having approval for that. But at the same time, it's like, okay, what's truly underneath, right? And that's one of the things that people, you know, when I start coaching people, they're like, well, I don't even really know what I want. And it's like, yes, you don't know what you want because you've been conditioned to not want it, right? And when
like you're afraid of it.
Yeah.
You know what you want. You're afraid to admit it to yourself.
Right. And it goes to, you know, some of that soul level knowingness, you know, that soul level wantingness, like, you know, and so it's, sorry, I was going to say soul level knowingness that you truly want, right? But like, you haven't had permission. So it's like, you know, the journey really is about giving yourself that permission.
And like being honest with ourselves, with like the lies that we're telling ourselves. Before I started work, I've been working for myself for like 6.5 years now. And I've grown and evolved so much, like grow or die. I literally have it tattooed on my shoulder right here. If you're not growing, you're dying. If you're not pushing yourself, like, then what is life even about? I would tell myself before I started working myself, I was working at a gym and I was in charge of the membership sales, retaining members, selling them everything. And I was given sales goals every month. I was making like 40 grand a year, maybe. I don't really even know. I was living with my son's dad at the time. He was paying all the bills. I was just working really for fun. I would get so stressed out on me over every month, like hitting a sale. And I used to tell myself and tell people I could work at McDonald's and I'd be stressed out. No, it wasn't about me and my work ethic. It was about me not feeling like I was ever enough. I felt like I wasn't enough. I felt like I always had to overperform. I was constantly looking for validation from people around me rather than being able to try really hard, work really hard, leave it at the door, but like, you did a good job. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. I want to echo what you just said about like never feeling like you're enough, need to work hard to prove myself. The question I have is like, what is that costing you at the moment? Right? Like it's costing us so much peace of mind. And a lot of times it's health. Like, I'll be honest, one of the big spots where I started my journey of transformation and every time has been an up level has been something to do with my body. Like I was getting, when I was working in corporate, like I felt like I had to wear heels, right? And this is literally like I had to wear heels, but the heels were effing up my back completely, right? And it was like a year of going to a chiropractor like every week to get it all kind of in a place. And then I was like, no, it's not worth it for me to wear heels. So to keep up the optics, right? Like all about that. So, but like that was like so much of it was like getting right with me, like that I matter. And that's part of the work that I'm helping. Sorry.
But you are enough as is.
You're enough, and stepping into and filling yourself up first, right? So you pour only from there. Like it's a boundary for me. Like it's a level and a standard of sorts, to be like, no, if I'm not filled up, like nobody's filled up. And I have a short course I work with women, with new moms on, right? So much conditioning around motherhood that you need to serve your children. Doesn't matter what you're going through, like we should always be serving our children. It's like, well, you can't give from an empty cup. You just,
totally.
Right. So I just, I'm loving this conversation. I'm also a bit mindful of time.
One thing I do want to talk about too is repulsion energy, right? So a lot of times, like if you can't wear heels and you're in the office and you're like, I can't wear heels, I'm wearing flats, whatever. You can be wearing like Chanel flats. You still have repulsion energy to the women that are able to wear heels rather than seeing them as beautiful people. Like when we have this mindset, repulsion energy, it makes it stay away from us. You have to look at people that have what you want, be it, a successful relationship, weight loss goals, the ability to wear high heels, whatever it is. And you have to be happy for them. The more happy you are for those kind of people, the more it comes to you, rather than giving this repulsion, anger, energy out towards it that keeps you from getting it. It's all energetic work, mindset work. It's really, again, like deconditioning, reconditioning, but anything you've learned, you can unlearn. That's what my program, Physically Fit and Spiritually Fed, is all about. We literally start from square one, ground one, whatever, kind of missed 2 words there. And we deconstruct what you think you need, because you have to have absolute confidence. When a caterpillar is turning into a butterfly, it isn't like halfway through, like, no, I'm going to say a caterpillar. No, like you are committed. And so when you start my program, we start with a commitment to breaking down all these beliefs you've had about your body, your ability to lose weight, what you need to do to lose weight. Totally put them aside. Don't know that they're not reality. Excuse me. And then we build them up again in a healthy way, looking at the energetics of things, looking at your relationship with everything, and being happy with your life as is. We're all constantly not happy when we're sick. Like everyone's talking about, oh, that so-and-so has COVID, so-and-so has this. But do we ever talk like so-and-so, I saw them, they look really good, they look really healthy? No, like we're not happy for our health when we have it. We take that for granted. We only complain about it when we don't have it. That's where the whole loving yourself as is, to get to the relationship you want, to get to the mom you want, to get to the body you want, is so important.
Yeah. That's so awesome. So excited for this program that's available. I know you're enrolling right now. Yeah. So great. Cool. We can wrap. And before we wrap, I'll just quickly share a little bit about my program and the work I do, because I am working, I haven't launched it yet, and I'm working on launching it. Meaning I've run it a few times, and I'm relaunching. We're going to start in September. It's a 5-month program for women who are high achieving, high caliber, like driven, ambitious, right? Which is like me. And they're done hustling. They're done overworking. They're done overgiving. They're like done with this people pleasing, and, you know, like kind of keep on giving and going, and are like ready to actually step into attraction, right? Which is the magnetic, confident self that's like is unapologetic about who she really is, right? Because she knows who she is on a core level. So that's the transformation. And this is for women who are like just like done, like we're done, right? And then all transformation starts from there, like you mentioned, that like that commitment to be done, right? And to step into a new world. And I'll just give you an example from like many of my clients, but I just had this like conversation with one of my clients. She just finished the last round, and she's like, oh my God, like I love this apricot tree in my backyard. And she literally manifested her dream home in a month in this crazy market. Yeah, earlier this year, right?
Amazing.
And she's like she's like pregnant. And like it's like everything she wanted is like there, right? And so yeah, I mean, that's the kind of results, right? And it was, and more so than the stuff, right? It was like I felt so good talking to her. I was like, oh, I could melt in your energy. You know?
Yeah.
And that's the transformation, right? Like it feels so good to be around a woman like that, that you want to give to a woman like that, right? And you want to receive from a woman like that. So it's like money, no problem. Like none of this stuff becomes an issue. So I invite you to follow me. I can drop a link here to schedule a call if you want to find out more. And that's it. I think this is great chat, Colleen. You have so much wisdom. I like so love that one nugget you just dropped. It was starve your ego and feed your soul.
Starve your ego, feed your soul. Because we're all spiritual beings, whether we want to accept it or not, you know?
I think you should title this that. Starve your ego. Feed your
I'm here for it.
Awesome.
Well, yeah, if you want to follow me, I'm Colleen Faltot. My Instagram is change.with.colleen. And I'm happy to jump on a call and just share some info with anyone that wants to. And it was such a pleasure to talk to you. I'll talk to you in a couple of days.
Yes. Awesome.
Right,
Thank you.
Bye.